if you play Dragon's Dogma 1 and 2, you realize that there's a lot in common. Pawns, the gameplay style, and what they've done is they did a lot of changes, but not enough changes that they should have done to make this probably a game of the year. I personally think it's not a game of the year. It lacks a lot of things, such as the gameplay features, the combat style, more varieties from different enemies, and we'll dive into that a little bit more into the video. We're going to be focusing on, is it possible that we're going to get a DLC? Now, there is a leak, of course, out there saying that there is a DLC coming. It's called Dragon Princess. Now, this is said to be a lot bigger than Dark Arisen from the original one, and it's going to last about a little bit more than 20 hours. It's going to cost about $29.99, which is a price for a DLC that a lot of you guys have paid for in the past from any various other games. And also, Capcom put out a survey asking about, do you want a DLC or not? Now, the problem is that when the game launched, the feedback was not that great. I'm guessing that from the 2.5 million copies that they got, they were probably hoping for maybe around 5. As you guys know, if a game is very likable and it has a lot of mechanics and you are really enjoying it, it's going to do well. We know Palworld, we know Helldivers, and of course, Elden Ring. Elden Ring is probably the most popular game in the whole decade because it brings a lot of things new. Now, that is my pet peeve with Dragon's Dogma 2. It brought a lot of things that were new, but they also brought a lot of things from the first one, which I personally did not like. Now, I think this is what also hindered them because instead of focusing on maybe more on the mechanics or making this game a little bit more harder, they focus on other things that they should have not. So, when the game launched, a lot of concerns about the microtransactions, technical issues, performance issues, and that feedback held back on how many copies were sold. Now, as you guys know, Capcom, Dragon's Dogma 2, it's also a business. So if they don't make the money, they're not going to make a DLC. As of now, they sold more copies than what the original. But come on, we can't really compare, right? 10 years ago to now, they should at least be in the 5 mil. But unfortunately, with all those issues right from the beginning, it really hurt the game. And I think what really hurt the game, besides the performance, this still is happening on PlayStation 5, on Xbox, and also on PC. And after playing this game over 100 hours, I'm still having a lot of FPS issues, which is one of the things that hinder this game from being very popular. Now, what do we desire if we were to get a DLC? I think one of the most important things, it has to be enemy variety. We need more enemies. We need to be engaged a lot more. I know when they were promoting the game, they talked about, we're going to have like whatever each corner you turn, wherever you go, you're going to see a lot of different enemies. You did see enemies. It's just you didn't see a lot of them. And I think that hindered the game a lot because I feel that in a way, they were selling something new. It was like last year's thing packaged in a different way. And I think that also hindered the game because now let's talk about the desired features. One of them has to be loot. I hate to say this, but I was very disappointed. I hated it that not the best weapons were in a chest. They were by visiting an NPC. That's the only way you were going to get more powerful, by purchasing a weapon with gold. Yes, I guess they made the feature of you gathering gold, and once you got the gold, you went and you bought it, you upgraded your weapons, and so on and so on. But I felt cheated in a way because when I went to NG Plus and I was finished the whole entire game, I realized that the best weapons are at the end, which makes no sense, none whatsoever, because you want the best weapons before you face an enemy. You want the best armor. And unfortunately, you found out that when you went to the Dragon Forge, that is where you saw the best weapons were for each of the different classes and the best armors for each of the different classes, which was a big, huge letdown. So I think if they fixed that, where you are able to get maybe the best armor or the best weapon or certain OP weapon. And that's my other point. And let's talk about the weapons. There wasn't a variety of weapons that were very OP. They lacked elemental power. It was either you make it very strong and with a high knockdown power, which made the weapon very powerful. Instead, they should have improved on the elemental of the weapon, or maybe the armor having more elemental resistance, or even like you had a secret weapon that if had a secret hidden feature that if you were to get it or you leveled it up in a certain way with a certain NPC, you got something better. But no, it was not that case. It lacked a lot of different elemental damage power. It lacked a variety. There was only about certain classes only had like about 5 different weapons, which is not a lot. And the best weapons, like I said, were right at the end with the armor, which was unfortunately something very, very disappointing. Another issue that I had is in regards to the enemies. You got to a certain point where after level 30, everything was so easy. And you could get to level 30 really fast and easy. And don't get me wrong, the pawns were a lot of fun going with them through battle and whatever. But the problem is that the pawns were too OP. So it made everything too easy. At one point, I was just sitting there watching them take down the enemies because you really don't need me. So it was sad at the same time because you wanted something challenging, which we did not get. Elden Ring was very challenging. I mean, you had to really level up or get that right weapon for the certain elemental damage to be able to do some damage to a boss. Now, in this case, I mean, Archer, the sorcerer, it got to a point where like it was one shot and everything was done, which is crazy, right? And you're not even level 30, which is even crazy. But hopefully they are able to fix those 3 things: the loot system, the weapon variety with the armor variety, and also a higher difficulty in the game. If they fix those 3 things, when the DLC comes, there's going to be new fans and new players, not just buying the base game. So if they improve on those 3 things, not just on the DLC, but on the base game as well, then you're going to have a big hit. A lot of more people are going to buy the base game and they're going to buy the DLC because you fixed those 3 main issues. So let me know in the comment section below. Do you feel what I'm feeling? Yes or no? Love to hear what you guys think. So I do hope they fix those, and I can't wait to see if they have even more coming for Dragon's